Geriatric Fight League.
No way there's any people who thinks this promotion is legit. GFL is the biggest failure of an MMA promotion without even having an event.
I have a strong and profound belief. Not belief, I know it for a fact. If you don't support something like the GFL, you are a homosexual, casual MMA fan. I'm going to make my case for the GFL. Legends. The GFL, Global Fight League, is an upstart MMA promotion that have signed a lot of veteran/legendary talent, and this has people in a fucking uproar.
Why are you gay? Why are you gay? Why are you gay?
Under the false guise of caring about fighter safety, these absolute cock-gobbling UFC bootlickers are desecrating on the GFL who are actually trying to do something good for the sport. Oh, fighter safety, bro. For those who are still on their fucking high horse, let me smack the poise out of your stupid fucking head. Hey, dummy! Do you know what this is? This is a fucking commission. Do you know what commissions do? They clear the fighters before the fight. And sure, maybe there are ways to get around it. But still, who the fuck are you to tell a healthy, grown adult man that he cannot do what makes him money because he's not as good at it as he once was, as he used to be? Shut the fuck up.
Mate, shut the fuck up.
The reason why I'm so passionate about not hating on the GFL for signing these legends, okay? Let's think about this realistically. These guys are older. Some of them in their late 30s, some of them in their 40s. Are they gonna win? Some of them might. Some of them, it's probably not gonna be so pretty. But before you come at the GFL, ask them, why are they there in the first place? Fighters like Benson Henderson and Renan Barão, they should be comfortably retired by now. They are truly legends of the sport who haven't been the most successful in their latest bouts, right? But they are in the GFL because they have to be. The UFC did not pay them a wage to retire on. A lot of these old fighters are getting a big opportunity to get one last big check, perhaps a retirement fund and some health insurance that the UFC just didn't offer during their entire careers. So you could blame the GFL for, taking advantage of these big names. No, what they're doing is giving them a hefty paycheck and giving them an opportunity to have health insurance and a retirement fund that they weren't going to get elsewhere. Blame the UFC if anything. And speaking of the UFC gives an 18% revenue split between itself and its fighters. That is egregious. It's appalling. The GFL, directly half, 50% of the revenue that they make is going back into the pockets of the athletes. That is a lot more on brand with other major sports organizations. It's a very, very good standard for other MMA promotions to follow. And I don't want to hear any of that 50% of zero is still zero bullshit. Shut the fuck up. It's played out. It's not original. About 1 million people have said that. And it's useless. Because it doesn't say 50% of profits will go back to the fighter. It says 50% of all revenue will be going back to the fighter. So even if the GFL lose money, which is very possible that they do, I'm not saying this is the UFC killer. Who wants to be a UFC killer? I don't want the UFC to be killed. What I'm passionate about is that athletes are going to have another place to go to have successful careers and get paid. That is what I would like to see the GFL at least become. A place where fighters can go and get paid and make careers for themselves, which with a safety net of a retirement fund and health insurance that the UFC and other major promotions don't offer at all. Public service announcement, only fucking dweebs could hate an idea like the GFL. Only dweebs could hate that legends and prospects are gonna get the opportunity to make a lot of money. Only the absolute nerdiest little UFC bootlicking fucking freaks don't like the GFL. You should support the GFL. Just give it a shot. Maybe it'll be good. I don't know if the product's gonna be good. That's part 2 of the video. Product. So the GFL product, it uses the same thing that PFL did, where it's like, you get more points, you get more momentum by getting a finish, and still though, I mean, it's pretty It's pretty normal. I mean, you know, you get more points for getting a finish. Getting a loss gets you either 1 point or 0 points. Yeah, it's understandable. Interestingly enough, it uses a team format. So, I guess it really matters, like, the team with the most points. So this draft actually really matters a lot. And that's what's really exciting, is the draft. All these different legendary MMA coaches like Ray Longo, Rafael Cordeiro, and Javier Mendez, along with their partners Wanderlei Silva and Cain Velasquez, Leo Machida, they're all going to be drafting these athletes to their own rosters. So there's a good chance that people like Frank Mir and Andrei Arlovsky never get signed. I'm just kind of realizing how fucking awesome this is right now. All of the best minds in MMA history, like Javier, like all those amazing coaches and some legends, are drafting from a giant pool of fighters, prospects, veterans, contenders. They're drafting the best team possible. Dude, this is gonna be awesome. That's such a fucking cool idea. Like, do you want Anthony Pettis? Or do you want some young, do you want an Oscar Owensworth? Do you want Alexander Maslov, or do you want a Fabricio Verdum? Like, that's such a cool fucking concept. I'm just realizing it now. And I also assume that the product will be a bit more like reality show kind of I'm assuming there's going to be more entertaining aspects. It's not just going to be, fighters going to a cage. I'm sure there'll be like cool team stuff, team media, stuff like that. I think this has fucking incredible potential. Incredible potential. IFL be damned. The GFL is fucking here, boy. I'm gonna wrap this up by giving my very few criticisms I have of GFL, but first, I want to address some unfair scrutiny that they're getting, and I'm gonna completely refute those points very quickly. Number one, the weight classes. People are saying that moving the so like lightweight means 165 in GFL. Light heavyweight means 225. People are saying, oh, fighters are just gonna cut even more weight. That's not true. So you're signed to your division. Benson Henderson is a lightweight. He's getting signed to lightweight, not 155. He can't go down. He is signed to fight at 165. Alexander Gustafsson is signed to fight at 225. They moved everybody up, which is going to help and prevent weight cutting and, actually make it so much easier on these fighters' bodies. Number two, a criticism that they're getting is that fighters are still having fights despite being signed for the draft. I want to reiterate, being eligible for the draft doesn't mean that you're gonna fight. It just means that you can be picked. So if Javier Mendez and, Ray Longo and nobody wants Frank Mir, nobody wants Alexei Oleinik, they're not gonna get signed. So we might not see all these fighters. It's whoever the coaches want, whoever they think is gonna win. Out of the 600 fighters, I think 300 are eligible to be drafted. And just to put the nail in the coffin for this fighters are old argument, Andrei Arlovsky is a fighter who has been knocked out 12 times. Not once have I ever seen anybody, any fan, criticize Andrei Arlovsky for being too old to be in the UFC. Not against Martin Buday, and not against powerful strikers like Dantale Mays and Waldo Cortez Acosta. We have all celebrated his longevity until the UFC decided they don't want to pay him anymore. And now it's a problem. Now GFL's the bad guy for signing him. Get out of here with that bullshit, for God's sake. Get out of here with that fucking shit. I don't want to hear it. These UFC shills and boot-licking fans who probably have secret sponsorships against the GFL, probably are secretly sponsored by the UFC. That's my conspiracy theory. Don't hold me to it. They have outed themselves as absolute hypocritical idiots. I mean, dweebs and idiots. Those are the type of people who make these arguments against the GFL. Okay, now for my few criticisms, Chapter 3. These aren't criticisms, more just like concerns that will probably just be nullified by the time you're watching this. I'm sure the GFL will nullify these criticisms, these concerns that I have. But number one, why does their corporate page say disillusion pending non-compliance? Meaning that they are in the process of being, I don't know. Very odd to me that they have the dissolution pending tag on their corporate page. Number two, why have we not announced how to watch the draft? We're only 3 days away at this point. We need to know where to watch the draft. I feel like that piece of marketing should have been dealt with already. Other than that, that's it. Those are my only concerns with GFL. At the very least, the GFL is a great place for veterans and prospects to make money. But at the best, we might have a fucking elite form of MMA entertainment. I mean, this has some crazy good potential to just be fucking awesome. What a concept, what a roster. And I'm gonna end it by just giving you a list of who I think will win each weight class in GFL, just cause why not? Starting off with the women's divisions, I think Alima Leigh McFarland, strawweight, is the most stacked women's division by far. It's tough. I think McFarland, she had an incredible run in Bellator. I think she's going to really prove herself and separate herself from the rest of the girls. I think she's going to look fantastic and really find her own. At flyweight, I did go with Paige Van Zandt. I feel like the flyweight is the most thin division in GFL by far. I think Van Zandt, I don't know. I just feel like the stars are aligning for a Van Zandt run. And for women's bantamweight, I picked Zarina Turi. Zarina Turi. I don't care about Aspen Ladd, Julia Budd. Yeah, they're amazing. They're proven, whatever. Turi's one of the most physical women's fighters I've ever seen. At bantamweight, I got Said Yakub, unfairly cut from the UFC. Brought it to Said Nurmagomedov. Since then, he's won 4 times. Once in MMA in less than a minute. And then knocking people out in karate combat where he's undefeated. Julio Arce, cut unfairly as well. Probably got paid too much. In his last fight, he knocked out Gilbert Burns' little brother. A lot of finishing ability. Damir Ismagulov, one of the most talented MMA fighters on the planet. We know he's at least probably top 15, top 10 caliber in the world. He's amazingly talented. Now he gets to showcase his striking and his grappling in GFL. Speaking of striking and grappling, Carlos Petrozzella, with one of the craziest just like backgrounds I've ever seen. He has like a karate and BJJ style. It's very awesome to watch. And then I think 2 legends are going to win. I think Gegard is still amazing. I think Gegard's going to get it done. He's going to sweep through middleweight. Middleweight's very hard. Light heavyweight, I think Yoel is just going to turn back the clock one more time. I mean, there are some good fighters in light heavyweight, but a lot of them are just like fellow legends. Thiago Santos is a tough one. Other than that, at light heavyweight, like Gustafsson, I think Yoel's just got it. I think he's got it in the bag. One last run. At heavyweight, I have Alexander Maslov. So Maslov winning at heavyweight, I just think he has a little bit of wrestling. And Robelis to Spain, I think Robelis is going to run through everybody except grapplers. If he gets grappled with even a little bit, I feel like he's going to lose. So Maslov could deal with the grappling, but he hits as hard as Robelis, maybe not as technically sound. Those are my predictions for who will be the best fighter in Season 1 of hopefully more than one season of GFL. This has been No Chill MMA. I hope I have converted you into a GFL believer. And if you are a fan of informative yet outrageous MMA content like this, give me a subscribe. I'll be making the best videos possible for every single one of you. And in the comment section below, let me know who you think is going to win every single GFL division. I will respond to every comment. And tell a friend about No Chill MMA and give GFL a chance.